Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rocky Hollow Homestead. It's good to have you back. I know it's been just a little bit since I had a video, but I wanted to bring you along as I go along to plant my fruit trees, and go figure the wind would start blowing as soon as I started talking. I hope you can hear me okay out here today. I have the creek behind me, a little bit of a light breeze, and but I was just going through and I pre-dug my holes. And you know, you'll see, got one right here behind me, and here's a shovel. This is not the shovel I used. Nope. Yep, and there's my shovel. Haha. So, you've seen the shovel that I used. That worked out pretty easy. You know, just, you know, pop a few holes in the ground with the auger. That works out pretty good. You know, it was already on the tractor. Took me about 15 minutes to dig, I think 9 holes. You know, that worked out nice. And you know, if I need to clean it up a little bit, I'll use my spade shovel here. But other than that, you know, I'll get into planting these trees. If you hadn't already done so, smash that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button for me, please. I appreciate it. So I have my trees here. On this side of the creek, I have 4 pre-dug holes. I have 2 cherry trees that are dwarf and 2 pear trees that are dwarf. And I'm going to do my 2 cherries down here on the bottom, and those other 2 holes on up the hill here will be my pear trees. One pear tree was back ordered. It's going to be coming. So I'll have one that I won't end up planting today, but I'll come back later and plant. But what you want to do, I've had these things soaking in water for 2 to 3 hours. You definitely don't want to soak it more than 24 hours. But I've had them soaking in water for 2 to 3 hours. The root system's good and wet. I have my hole here. I've got plenty of room in it to allow it to continue to grow. I am no expert at this at all. I just wanted to kind of show you what I'm doing here. This here is a pie cherry dwarf. These dwarf trees will get 8 to 10 feet tall and 8 to 10 feet wide. And you might see me switching back and forth here a little bit. I have some sunburnt legs from my daughter's softball tournament yesterday. Hurts. But note to self, use sunscreen. But anyways, we're going to work our root system out where everything's worked away nice and loose. And this graph right here, you'll see where this comes out. You're supposed to keep this 2 to 3 inches above the soil line, above the top of the ground. So we're going to have this in the ground about that far. Okay? So, I'm going to put it in here. Get my root system down in there. That looks pretty good. We're going to fill it in with our native soil. Everything that come out, that's hard as a brick. And if I need to, I have some other dirt. There's a little bit of rock in this part where this has been worked on before. But if I need to later on, I can come back in here afterwards when I get these others planted and add some dirt from some topsoil and everything from right up here that I have back on top. But I don't think I'm going to have that issue. I'm going to tamp it down just a little bit. So that way you get all the air pockets out and get rid of these mud clods. And there we go. We'll get rid of that. And I think we'll be in good shape there. It's perpendicular to the ground. It's standing upright, not leaning anywhere, forming buds on it. And I'm going to remove my tag to allow this tree to grow. Put it in my pocket so I know what it is. And there's that tree. You'll see I have my others over here. The spacing on these, they say 8 to 10 feet. So what I'm doing, I'm keeping them 12 foot apart here on the from each other, and then I'm keeping it roughly about 10 feet from the edge of the creek. So the radius that this tree should grow will be about 5 feet, keeping it 10 feet from it. That way I've got plenty of room to mow. If fruit does fall off, it's not all rolling in the creek, but that gives me plenty of room for me to get around the tree to pick my fruit whenever it's harvest time here in a few years. But these trees are about 3.5, this tree here is about 3.5 feet tall. And yeah, we'll move on to the second one. Now this tree here is a sure crop cherry tree, and it's no big deal about the pieces of paper here. That is what they shipped it in here for, with around the roots, and it was soaked down with water. But you'll see I've got my hole plenty deep, plenty wide enough here. I'm going to straighten out this root system just a little bit. That one broke off, but that might be from one of the stragglers on the other tree. But you can see what we got here, what we have here. We're going to leave this 2 to 3 inches above the ground. Work that dirt around the roots. Pull that sod back out of the way. Get rid of the rocks, the big rocks. Got a few little small ones in there. Alright, tamp it down just a little bit, make sure there's no air pockets. And we are going to have to bring in, where we have a lot of rock, we're going to have to bring in some potting soil and topsoil from up the hill, where I've got some piled up. But you can see we're going to have that about that much sticking up above the ground. And this is a sure crop cherry. They were not self-pollinating trees, so you plant 2 different kinds so that way they can pollinate each other. And there are 2 trees. On this tree, this is a Bartlett pear. Bartletts are really good, and I have a Moonglow pear that was back ordered, but it'll be here. They said it'll be here next week. So this hole here, I got off a little bit on the spacing, or out of the line. So I had to dig the hole just a little wider to get it all to work out for me. Pull that back so it gets dirty. Down. You don't want to pack it down real tight, but you want to get it to where it doesn't have air bubbles down in there, so that way your tree will stay in place. Y'all wondering why this is called Rocky Hollow Homestead? All right. Now, on this side of the creek, that's all we're going to have until the Moonglow pear comes. But I'm going to go on the other side of the creek now. We have some pre-dug holes there, and we're going to plant our apple trees. So come across the creek with me. right, everybody. I got the trees in the ground as you've seen there, and I'm gonna walk around and kind of talk to you about everything. Sorry for my nasty hat, man. It's hot out here today. I'm sure there's hotter places, but it's around 75, and I've been in the sun all day. The sun's finally going back over the hill now this evening, and but I was out here earlier today trying to see where full sun would be, and for the bulk of the day these trees are all going to get full sun, so I'm very, very pleased with that, and that's what it called for. But I'm gonna kind of talk to you about what I did. Now, I told you about across the creek, or on the side where the house is. I told you about those where we're doing a cherry, a pear, and a pear. Those cherry trees, I have two different ones, a sheer crop and a pie, and then I have a Bartlett pear, and then I have a moonglow pear that's coming. The moonglow pear will be here next week. All right. Spacing, those are all dwarfs. They get 8 to 10 feet tall, 8 to 10 feet wide. So my spacing, they called for up to 10 foot apart in spacing, so I put them 12, and I put them 10 feet off the creek. That way I can get by with a mower, and it's easy for picking. Now, over here for the apple trees. Right here, this first one, this is a Granny Smith. Now, I'm not sure exactly how to put this, but what I was doing with the apple trees was I wanted a cooking apple, a freezing apple, and an eating apple. Now, in my mind, you know, a cooking apple is a golden delicious or a Granny Smith, and you can obviously freeze that and cook with it later. So, and then an eating apple, I really like Honey Crisp. Those are good, amongst a couple others. And in the dwarf trees, I was kind of limited. I didn't want real big tall trees because I didn't want to shade out my garden any more than it is, and I still have some more little tree limbs to cut down low to keep from doing that, but that's for another story. So anyways, so I have first tree here on the corner, Granny Smith apple tree, dwarf, and spaced it 12 feet. Second tree here in the middle, another Granny Smith. Let's see, yeah, there's another Granny Smith, and like I said, 12 foot. And then up here on the corner, I've got it about 18 feet apart. This one here is a Golden Delicious. The reason for the Golden Delicious, I wouldn't plant it. It's not something I would typically eat, but the Golden Delicious is the pollinator for the Granny Smith and the Honey Crisp trees there. On the Stark Brothers website, you can scroll through, look at your trees, and I really want a Honey Crisp, obviously. There's a couple others I wanted, but I wanted to keep as short of a pollinating tree as possible. The Golden Delicious was the only pollinator for these trees. I could not get it in a dwarf. I got it in a semi-dwarf, which gets 12 to 15 feet tall, 12 to 15 feet wide. So I have it 18 feet away from this other tree, from the Granny Smith. I should be good. I have a similar distance from this Honey Crisp as well. And then, of course, they're on up here on the bank, so that works out good. But the Golden Delicious, it's just a fuzz taller, but it's a semi-dwarf tree, and I got my spacing on that. And I made sure to keep it away from the garden here too, so that way I wouldn't shade anything out. Here I have a Honey Crisp apple tree, and then over here another Honey Crisp apple tree. So the spacing on these, 12 foot, and I decided to stay off of the garden area here from the edge where I've plowed down before. I decided to stay off of that 7.5 feet. Couldn't decide. I was thinking, well, do I want to go 6? Do I want to go 8? Do I want to go 10? But I didn't want to get too far up the hill. But I also wanted to make sure if I decided to put trees down through here later on, once all this mess behind me is gone, I wanted to make sure I'd have a decent looking row of trees and plenty of room to get around them and pick. And man, look at that sunburn. Lord, that don't hurt. But I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room to get around picking and mowing and all that. So that I think that'll work out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. All in all, today we just planted 8, but there'll be 9 fruit trees for now. I really wanted plum and peach. The plum trees were back ordered. The peach trees, they did not have any dwarfs available. So we'll cross that bridge later. Down through there will be a great spot to put the peach trees. And maybe the plum trees, who knows. But there you have it. So, try to get a little help. Oh, she's waking up. But look at this. Look where she at. Oh, and there she is. There's Poogie. She was snoozing. She is up there in the shade. She has rooted out some dirt, some grass off the dirt, and she has been snoozing. We have been keeping her nice, good, cold creek water to her, and she goes and she eats, and she drinks a couple gallons of water, it seems like, and she goes and plops down on that cool dirt, and just, yeah. Come on, what do you say, girl? Huh? What do you say? Huh? Huh? Come here, Poogs. Come here. Look, you want to talk to him? Come on. Come here. Come here. Yeah, there you go. That's a good pig. Old Poogie. Yeah. We're trying to get her trained to stay in the yard. And I will say this. She has been doing good. She's got a 50-foot diameter here that she can walk on. Yeah, girl. That she can walk on. And the other day, yeah, that's right. Look, yeah, that's a happy pig, and that's a red leg. You make my leg feel better? Yeah. Yeah, I could have used your help today. But, old Poogie. Yeah, you're trying to root my leg out of the way. This is your territory, ain't it? But, I'll get back to what I was saying. Old Poogie was out here rooting around in the ground, rolling around, playing. You ought to see it. She gets out here and really runs and plays. It's fun to watch. But we had went down the road for a couple hours, I guess, and she got up there in her spot and was rolling around. You like that? She likes to be back scratches. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. So Poogie was rolling around and playing, and her chain come unhooked. We were not home. But she stayed in the yard. She did good. We were very proud of her. When we got back, she saw us and she came running right up to us. It was great. Look at that. Look at that smile on that face. You see that? You see that? Look at that. Yeah, that's a good piggy, ain't it? Yep. What do you think, girl? So yeah, she came running up to us, and we come and we brought her some food and some more water and everything, hooked her up and let her play outside a little longer. But she is definitely getting used to it. She didn't leave the yard. She only got about 50 feet away from where she is normally used to, right here. And she's got plenty of green grass here. It's got some all kinds of little flowers in it and everything. She roots them up and plays in the, got some taller grass up there on the bank. So I think she's a happy little piglet right now. She's gonna wrap me up in this thing. But yeah, I just wanted to brag on Poogie a little bit. So anyways, there's two or three of those tree holes that need a little extra dirt in them from where they had a few rocks. So obviously I'm going to pull the rocks out so the tree has more soil around it, around the roots, and the root system can expand. So I'm going to go get a little bit of dirt and put around those and water them, and they'll be good to start growing. And in another video, I'll show you what kind of fertilizer I'm going to use. But I think that's all I have for you today. What do you think, Poogie? Hey. You got anything else? Hey. Yeah? No? Alright. Well, anyways, on behalf of Poogie, if you would, smash that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it, and she would too. And hit the subscribe button. That'd help us out too. Notification bell lets you know when some more videos are coming out. And as always, I've enjoyed the conversation. Tell me about some different trees and everything that you've planted, and different plans that you might have, and just give us some feedback on this video. We really appreciate it. What do you think, girl? All right, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and that's all we have for you. And until next time, we'll see you then.